The year is 2008. The Detroit Lions have completed one of the most historic seasons of all time, playing 16 games and losing all 16. A team quarterbacked by John Kitna, Dan Orlovsky, and Dante Culpepper somehow couldn't get a win all season. Detroit's best player is 23-year-old Calvin Johnson, who finished top 5 in the league in receiving yards for the season, and his reward is that he gets to go home and reassess whether he really likes football that much. A winless season can break anyone, even the football god, John Madden. One day, during the Lions' offseason, a hologram transmission of Madden arrives in the front office. He's here to offer them a second chance, and hope for rectifying this atrocity to professional football.
Can I read this? Can I read this part? Okay, I have a really... Will, have you heard my Madden impression? No. It's really... Okay, all right. I'm excited. I finally get to do my Madden impression. Hey, y'all, I have a proposal. You'll be able to replay the entire 2008 season, but under one condition. You can only call one offensive play for the whole season. You like it?
The Lions coach, who is on the brink of losing his job, looks around at everything he worked so hard for in his life. He doesn't want to go out like this. He wants to make this right. Tell Mr. Madden he has a deal. The Lions coaching staff looks at each other happy as hell. They have a chance to make this right. They're about to play football in the Fumble Dimension. Since we've been given the job of picking the perfect play, John and I will use both the resources at our disposal and our experience to construct our definition of the ultimate football play. After some time, John and I will reconvene, test out the plays, and pick which one we think is best. We've chosen to try this one play only experiment in NFL Head Coach 09 thanks to the Creative Play feature that's in the game. Why Head Coach 09? Well, 1, because I couldn't find Head Coach 06, and 2, we don't talk about the 2008 Detroit Lions enough. Now, there are more extensive creative play modes in EA's football history. In Madden 2004, the route possibilities were endless. You could call this play, and this, and even this. It was fun to draw literally whatever play you wanted and exploit the AI for easy touchdowns. It was like playing backyard football with your neighborhood friends, and you would use your finger to draw routes on the ball. While it would have been cool to use this feature, I wanted to take the human gameplay element out of the experiment. We're assuming the role of the coaching staff, and not the players for this episode. In Head Coach 09, we have the ability to create a play, and we don't have to physically play as the players. These two factors make it the perfect landscape to test out a one-play season. So in this episode, unfortunately, we won't be able to create our own routes to exploit the AI. Luckily for us, at the end of the day, this is an EA football game we're talking about, so we can do that with the routes they already give us. For me, my football video game experience is spending countless years playing nearly every football title since 2002. Yes, that includes arena football.
Baby on the ground? Is that what I hear? You want your mommy? You want your mommy? Come on, man. Come on, leave him alone.
Now for my play, I want to take this seriously. I want to make a play that would be good for any situation. So this most definitely has to be a pass play. 1, I'm not making you guys watch halfback dives off video long. 2, running the ball all the time is not ideal for certain situations. And 3, I have Calvin Johnson on my team. So now that that's out of the way, the real questions begin. What routes do I pick? What formation do I choose? How do I assign my progressions? For this, I watched a lot of Madden. and I mean a lot of Madden. I even found an expert. This is Young Kiv. Kiv is a top-tier Madden pro and even won the 2018 Madden Bowl. He's also a coach on TopMadden.com, a site where the pros drop their expertise and know-how on the game. Today I'm going to ask him about certain Madden routes and what play he would use against an AI opponent. Now the formation I've decided to take inspiration from is the shotgun bunch formation. 3 wide receivers on one side, Calvin Johnson on the other, with a running back for safekeeping. From watching all of these pro Madden tournaments, I noticed that the gun bunch was a really popular formation. So I wanted to ask Kiv why.
It's so good because you have the 3 receivers on one side, so you have an overload over there, which creates mismatches in the defense. Kind of forces them to get a lot of their DBs over there, and then you have a receiver backside, and then you have the tight end on the line and the running back next to the quarterback on his left. So then you're able to have the best blocking too. If you wanted to block the tight end and block the running back, you can pick up the edge pressure from the left and then pick up the edge pressure from the right. And it just creates mismatches with the zones because you're able to flood that one side. And then if they end up running man coverage, you can just bring the receivers across the middle with like crossing routes and stuff like that. So it just creates a lot of mismatches for the defense, and it's like the most balanced formation in my opinion.
Now for one of my receivers on the field, I'm going to have them run a short route, and I'm going to use the all-powerful slant route. Throughout the college football and Madden games, the slant route has been one of the more infuriating routes to cover. When I was playing NCAA 14 in college, I would play this kid on my floor every week, and whenever I needed a first down, I would just use the quick slants play. It's such a money play, especially when you're going up against a computer. Whether it's man defense or zone defense, it really doesn't matter. That's why for my play, the slant route is a must-have.
The slants, no one really uses them. They're just too, if people use like a short route, it's like a drag route usually, because the drag is just, it's going to go underneath all the zones. The slant kind of gets in between, and it's like, it kind of goes into this no man's land where the hooks, like the hooks in the middle of the field, can kind of play the deeper crossing routes and play the slant a little bit. So I like a drag route a little bit more than a slant for sure.
Now for the next receiver, I'm going to pick a nice corner route to the outside. Throughout the course of many EA football games, the corner route has been one of the more devastating ones. In most cases, the play is an automatic 15 to 20 yard gain, and it's great for getting out of bounds during a 2-minute drill. So for this play, I'm going to put the corner route in twice.
The long corner routes are really good on Madden. On Madden, you have a lot more time than like real football, so you're able to run those like deeper routes and stuff. And then there's no zone that guards a long corner route. So yeah, long corner routes are super good in Madden.
Okay, now that leaves the running back. Now I was torn between using him for blitz pickup and having him as a receiver. So what do? You know what? I'm going to choose a wheel route just because I want a higher chance of verticality.
They beat man ever since I've played, so. They always beat man coverage, and then they're good versus zone because they find like a little sweet spot in the zone. So yeah, running back wheels are like probably the best route that you can put a running back on, besides like maybe an angle route.
So now that only leaves one person left, Calvin Johnson. Calvin actually isn't the highest rated receiver on the team according to head coach 09. It's actually Roy Williams. But thankfully, it's not by that much of a margin. The main question now is, what route should I give a 6'5" receiver with a 96 speed rating and a 97 jump rating? So I'm going to go with the safer option route. Calvin, you're good enough to do whatever you want, buddy. So this is it, my play. I like to call this one, Calvin Save Us. To finish off my interview with Kiv, I decided to ask him what play he would run against a computer defense.
Honestly, teams run this play a lot in the NFL. It's a trips, and then they just run 4 verticals.
Yeah.
And it's like the most common Madden play, but all you do is if you put like a drag on the solo side, you come back across the middle, and like say the running back like just on like a wheel route or something like that, it basically would just beat everything. On Madden, they like to just throw the ball like instantly. They're not gonna like wait to throw something. So they'll just like throw the seam routes or like throw the streak or throw the drag instantly or throw like the little tight end crosser.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how like a CPU would be able to stop it unless they just like ran man and like your receivers weren't good enough or something like that.
Now for a second opinion on my play, I'm going to bring in Richard Johnson. He's a college football writer for Banner Society, and he used to play football. As someone that has never played organized football or even tried to understand the complexities of the sport, it turns out I have a lot to learn. So
I know we're focusing on Calvin Johnson a lot, but I actually think in real life, Calvin Johnson's not really a part of this play. Calvin Johnson's a decoy. You've got it as an option route where he could either run a flag or a 9 route, a streak, I guess, in the game. I think if he does that, what he's going to do is he's going to clear out this space. He's going to take the corner with him if he runs up the field. Then he creates a void, and we're running both the drag crosser and the wheel route into the void. I think in real life, what we do first and foremost is we're reading this side of the formation. We'd read this deep to short. So we'd read this corner route first and see if it's there, and then come back here and see if it's there. If both of these happen to be covered by the defense, you'd probably see what's up with the drag over here, see what's happening down here, and then your last resort may actually be the wheel in a last-ditch scenario because Calvin's lollygagging up here somewhere.
Where would you put Calvin in this play if you want to maximize the most of, like, you want to maximize his value? Where would you put Calvin?
Maximize his value, honestly, I'd hide him in here.
Yeah.
I'd hide him in here and run a crossing route. I also might flip these two. I also might have this guy doing this route right here, shorter, and this guy being your crosser. Because in real life, this guy could pick a defender with like a natural pick, basketball pick type thing.
Right.
Could pick this defender and get Calvin free. Easier.
Okay.
Now when I asked Richard the play he would choose, he decided to not go with a pass play and chose a run play instead.
Counter lets us do this. Counter lets us take this. Counter, we're pulling these guys to the opposite side of the formation. We're taking this left guard and this left tackle, and we're taking them to the other side of the formation, right? So we do not give a damn about this defender. This defender is not going to make this play.
Right.
So what we're going to take the fullback. We're going to crack this guy. You are going to step down and block here. You're going to step down and block here. You're going to step down for here because this running back is going to take a false step to the left.
Yeah.
Running back takes a false step to the left. Defense thinks we're coming left. Beauty. That's what we love to see. Fullback goes up there and does that. So now we're going to have these guys block here. These guys block here. Down block. This tight end comes up and blocks here. Now we bring our big boys here and here to give us an alley. And we've got a receiver blocking here on the outside. Now we've got an alley to the outside. We've got a convoy. We false stepped and allowed our guys enough time to get in front and lead the way. And then our running back is going to come through the alley and he's going to score a touchdown every time in a perfect world. But in the actual world, and why I think this may work, is because what's the conceit here? With the worst team in the game, we're trying to score a touchdown.
Yeah,
right?
we're trying to win a game.
We're trying to win a game.
Yeah.
Right? So counter allows you to do a couple things. Counter allows you to run the clock.
Yep.
Because of run play. But counter also allows you to gain roughly 3 yards every play. You're going to hope against hope that this play can get you 3 yards every play.
Yeah.
At some point in time, we're going to hope that we can get enough points, and we're going to hope that our defense, our NFL head coach, Awful Lions defense, can at least stem the tide. So we've controlled the game on offense, we've controlled the clock, hopefully we control the game, and hopefully we win it.
Okay.
Thanks to Richard's advice, I decided to switch up the personnel placements on Calvin Save Us. Now all that's left is to see what play John drew up. I wonder what he's up to.
Yep, I've decided to call a play of my own. So, the quarterback takes the shotgun snap. The running back is sent to the line to pass block. This wideout is pulled off scrimmage to stand behind the lineman and provide additional pass blocking. So is this one. And so is this one. That leaves us with just one target, Calvin Johnson, who will run around this little lonely post route. My favorite Madden money play in years past was a post route to Tony Gonzalez, and I hope to recreate that success with Megatron. The ludicrous amount of blocking ideally accomplishes two things. First, of course, it gives Calvin lots of time to run downfield and Kitna lots of time to find him. Second, it's a cheap trick. While producing Breaking Madden, I found that once a passing play extends more than 5 seconds or so without a throw, sometimes the game just kinda starts to break down. Players run out of instructions, they improv, and sometimes they lock up entirely. My hope is that Kitna can stay protected for so long that he can either uncork a deep one, or the AI loses its cookies. This won't work every time, but even if it works 1 time out of 4, the massive yardage is more than enough payoff.
Now that we have all the plays, we're going to run a 1-game simulation with each play. Now I know that usually 1-game sample sizes are not ideal, but when you're running 1 play only for the entire game, I think that's good enough of a sample size to help us make a decision. Now my play worked, but not in the way that I intended it to. Remember when Richard told me that Calvin Johnson was the decoy in this play? Well, I took that advice and I swapped Calvin with McDonald. However, John Kitna didn't seem to notice. Now I thought it was because the progression had the option route as the first look, but even when I switched it up mid-game, it didn't seem to make a difference. In addition to progression mix-ups, this play took too long to develop, and when it did, Kitna wasn't able to throw to either corner route. The offensive line wasn't able to keep the defense from Kitna either, as he was sacked 9 times. The most the 2008 Lions allowed in a game was 7 to the Jaguars on November 9th. Despite these outcomes, John Kitna still threw for 421 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He also completed 78% of his passes and led the Lions to a W. So even though my play didn't work the way it intended to, John Kitna still looked really good, and the Lions got a W. So I can't really complain.
Better than in real life. I mean, you got that out of John Kitna, who he's a nice man. John Kitna, for everything I've read about him, he's a really, really nice guy. But you made him into a good football player, which I'd rather be good at football than nice.
Now, Kiv gave us a variant of the 4 verticals play. This is a fundamentally different play from a Hail Mary, and the concept isn't in head coach. So I did the best I could. I found the specific middle go route I was looking for in a Mike Martz playbook, and I assigned Calvin Johnson to the middle route. And oh my god, this play was amazing. Running Kiv's play, John Kitna threw for 8 touchdowns and a grand total of 621 yards. At an 82% completion rating, with a staggering average of 18.2 yards per completion.
Kiv had never played head coach, right? I think that's what
I
he said.
don't think Kiv has played.
He's not a head coach expert or anything, and yet he knew exactly which switches to flip. He very confidently, I remember he immediately, without hesitation, he knew exactly which play to draw up.
And wow, that's 8 touchdowns, and it's just the computer? That's crazy.
How do you beat that?
Now that Kiv's play went way better than we expected, that puts a lot of pressure on Richard and John. Richard's play actually worked way better than I anticipated. He managed to score 3 rushing touchdowns and break off some pretty big runs. Now the main problem wasn't his play, but rather the Lions themselves. They missed a lot of blocks. And I mean a lot of blocks. With a staggering 46 carries between the running back duo of Kevin Smith and Brian Calhoun, they gained a grand total of 182 yards. What's interesting about this is that Brian Calhoun never played in the 2008 regular season. He played in the preseason games, but injuries kept him from playing in 2008, and subsequently for the rest of his career. In this game, Calhoun rushed for 69 yards on 7 carries. In his real NFL career, he rushed for 54 yards total.
It was really close. Like the logic was really sound. You want the time to tick by as fast as you can because you want fewer things to happen because of this. This is just such a disaster of a team. You want to get them on the field for as few plays as possible, right? So like that 3.3333 yards and a cloud of dust is a really good idea. Didn't pan out, but respect for trying something that somehow almost worked.
Shout out to you, Richard. Now this leaves it all up to John to see if his one route only play would work. Nope, we're not making that up. That's the right score. Here's what happened. Out of those 60 points, 2 of them were defensive touchdowns. With John's play calling, John Kitna threw for 7 touchdowns and 17.5 yards per completion. Every single completion went to Calvin Johnson, who tallied 474 receiving yards. Only 2 fewer receiving yards than Kiv's play. Now you guys both had the right idea, but you executed them in way different ways. You only had one route, so John Kitna had no choice, and all the protection, and all the time to wait until Calvin Johnson got open.
Right. I just decided to take the decision out of the AI's hands as much as I could. I know that Calvin Johnson is a good football player, despite me dissing John Kitna earlier. I do think he's a very capable quarterback. He had a decent arm and he had decent accuracy, so I feel like he could have made that happen. I think the difference is while Kiv drew his play up based on just his knowledge of the game itself, I really just screwed around and tried to make the funniest formation I could. And I just stumbled backwards. Like, that's my key to success is I just bumble around until I trip over success. I recommend it.
The more you know.
Well, we're almost to part 2. What are we doing in part 2?
Now, if one of these 4 plays, we're going to run an entire season and only call one play.
For the entire 2008 Lions season.
The entire 2008 Lions season, to see how many wins we can get with this awful roster and great play. Now, the question remains, which play do we choose?
We have a little bit of a conflict of interest here. Kofie drew up a play. I drew up my play. We feel like it's not appropriate for us to choose. So, we're going to make a poll.
Fan voting. Isn't that fun?
Unlike democracy, this one counts. So, it's your job now. Go to sbnation.com. We'll have a link in the description. You can go and vote on which of these 4 plays you want to see us run in the next episode of Fumble Dimension and get us to something better than the Lions 0-16. Thanks for watching, y'all.